Hey guys, Tarke Cat here, and in today's video I'm going to be giving my solo self-found review of Sentinel League and 318 as a general patch. I feel quite confident making this video now because I've played enough of the game at this point. I also don't think GGG is going to do anything else to really update the league. Would love to be proved wrong on that, but it is what it is. And I'm actually about to do a full solo self-found reset because I feel like I've just hit like a progression wall. So what have I actually done so far in the league? How much have I even played of the league? So we're just going to week 3, and I have a combined 1 week of Slash played across this and my other character. This was a Saboteur Trapper that I league started on, and then I recently messed around on a course to carry Pathfinder. I've had my full Atlas unlocks for quite some time now, except for a Cortex and the Feared, because I play solo self-found and I can't get a Cortex or a Feared to drop. And I've had my Atlas passive skill trees fully spec'd into trying to get Synthesis stuff, but it doesn't drop for me. But anyway, we'll come back to Atlas stuff later on. Let's talk about Sentinel. So I think that Sentinel is one of the best leagues they've done in a very long time. I really like it for a lot of different reasons. The one issue that I have, which I had at the beginning, I still have it now, is the inventory management. It uses up 4 slots. They drop unidentified, meaning you have to ID them, which means that you can't filter them. If they dropped corrupted, you could filter them on the ground, which would make it much smoother. But they don't drop. They drop unmodifiable. I don't know why I can't. Unmodifiable. I can't say that word apparently. They made this special workaround stuff to force players to have to pick them up to ID them, and they're 4x4, and the Sentinel locker is tiny. And when I do my self-found reset, I'm not even going to bother using the Sentinel locker because it has affinities. It then messes up me using my dump tab, so I'm just not going to bother, and I'm just going to manually dump them into my dump tab. Screw the Sentinel locker. Ignoring that, though, from a gameplay point of view, I love it. I've messed around with it quite a bit at this point. I've done full Stalker setups, I've done full Pandemonium setups, I've done Stalker Pandemonium setups, Apex exists, and I've really enjoyed just settling in on a low-effort Stalker setup. Every single map I go into, I press it, it feels meaningful, the enemies feel harder, I get great rewards back. It feels absolutely great. I love the fact that you can have full Atlas strategies based around like, yo, I'm going to run a bunch of Glacier and run stuff like Breach and Legion and Strongboxes to like force good Pandemoniums. There's been stuff now where people are purposely like specking their full Atlas passive skill tree to get like just connected map bonus. And they go into a map, they blast their Sentinels, get their loot, leave, respam, reset, and they're sustaining maps through that. I think that's really cool. I like it when you can completely alter your endgame strategy based around your Sentinels. And hey, there's like 3 people who are doing a setup based on Apexes, and that's cool for them too. That's that. Let's talk about recombobulating. Recombobulating is excellent. I never get as excited over like I get more excited over an armor when you force it to be a silly word and then you see the real word, it messes with your brain. I get more excited over armor recombobulators dropping than I do over like when my mirror dropped. When my mirror dropped, I got all tingly and I'm like, oh, and then it went in my stash and I haven't done anything with it. Whenever I be like, bing, weapon recombiner, yo, let's make some cool stuff with that. It feels great. It's way cooler than getting an Exalt. It's way cooler than getting Veiled Chaos Orbs. It's way cooler than getting like exotic currency or whatever. Give me just more recombobs. I want recombobs forever. I think they're a really great way of having like a little bit of deterministic crafting, but it's so RNG heavy at the same time that I feel like it's pretty well balanced. You make disgusting items from it, but there's the risk. It makes just like base rares more powerful. This whole stash tab is just filled with like, yo, plus level of gems, yo, plus level of gems, plus level of gems, etc. Yo, this item had a really good fizz roll. Yo, this item had a really cool, I don't know, life roll, suppression roll. I just like the way that it makes rares more valuable. It makes bases more valuable. And it's definitely been one of the most enjoyable parts of the league for me. So, with all the Sentinel praise out of the way, except for screw the affinity locker storage situation, let's talk about the less fun part of the league, Arch Nemesis. So I've really enjoyed Arch Nemesis from a gameplay perspective on this character, doing the whole trapping stuff with a very powerful build, doing Omniscience. But the whole time I was playing it, I'm like, I like the harder gameplay, but I'm sure it's going to be pretty oppressive. I wonder what this is going to be like when I make my second character. Yeah, so I made my second character and I picked Caustic Arrow. Arch Nemesis kind of sucks. If you've got a really powerful build and your build is popping off, then Arch Nem is kind of whatever. It's just sort of there. Every now and again, it's more difficult. Like, cool. If you're playing a weaker build, it really isn't fun at all. It feels very, very oppressive. It makes early game campaign leveling very difficult for new players to get into. It was already a game that new players struggled to get into. I think it's really bad that this is in the campaign. I think this is an awful experience for new players, and I think that Arch Nemesis needs substantial more work to it. It seems like GGG is pretty much done, though. They had a post on Reddit about a week ago in regards to how Arch Nemesis interacts with other league modifiers, and the paraphrasing quote was, thank you for your feedback. We will review this for how Arch Nemesis interacts with leagues in 3.19, by the way. So yeah, not expecting any more meaningful Arch Nemesis changes, unfortunately, but they are definitely sorely needed. Right. Let's talk about the Atlas passive skill tree, because I think the Atlas passive skill tree is very, very fun. Really love this whole blocking aspect. Introducing blocking has made running the endgame way more enjoyable for me. I've had a lot more fun planning out my Atlas passive skill trees. I had a lot of fun planning it out last week. The Atlas passive skill tree is definitely one of the best things to come to Path of Exile, and it's just getting better. Saying that, though, I kind of wish that these nodes weren't where they were. I kind of wish they were at the start of the tree down here, rather than being sort of where they are. I feel like you have to spend too many points to get over to them. That aspect of it just kind of sucks in my mind, because I feel like the trees are not necessarily cookie cutter, because it's that you spec into what you find fun, but something that I have run into. So last league I did a bunch of essence stuff. This league I've done a bunch of essence stuff. So this rooting, if you're just like rushing essence, is super strong, and then also it puts you next to these nodes. And I would kind of just like them to just shuffle stuff about. Next league, just shuffle everything around. Move stuff willy-nilly. Let me mess around with, like, hey, let's do some Einhar with some Jun stuff. Like, let's maybe put those together. Some people be saying they want to see master blocking next league. Master blocking, give or take it, I don't mind too much. I mostly just want to see this stuff move around. The idea of like introducing jewels to this or masters to this eventually would be really fun. But the main thing though, just keep stuff moving. Don't let it be stagnant. Just keep shuffling stuff around, and hopefully let next league have stalker stuff on here, sentinel stuff on here, so I can spec into my stalker sentinels. Because yeah, sentinel is great, and I want sentinel to stick around. So yes. The only thing I do really have to complain about in terms of the Atlas skill tree and Atlas progression is I do feel, at least in my experience anyway, that I kind of run out of meaningful Atlas progression around week 2, week 3. So my Atlas skill tree has looked like how it is right now for quite a long time. The only points I'm missing are like a couple of Maven invitation stuff. So I'm missing my Cortex, I'm missing my Feared. For some reason, I can't get my form to drop. I've had the forms ready to go. I just can't get the form to drop. But my Atlas has kind of just been in a stalemate. I would like more meaningful progression in my Atlas system. If it's a prestige system where it's just like you reset your Atlas for some cosmetics, that could be one thing which I would actually find kind of fun. You reset it, maybe unlock more tiers. You then go up to like tier 20 maps, tier 25 maps, or whatever. Maybe they just make the Atlas bigger when they introduce whatever the next set of bosses are. I don't know. But I would like the option of a longer Atlas grind. I know not everyone would like that, but I personally would enjoy that. Because I have the most fun in the initial progression stages. I'm doing a self-found reset in week 3 because I feel like I've run out of meaningful progression. So I would like just more meaningful progression in there. Otherwise, though, I think that this is the best league with one of the worst patches, unfortunately. Absolutely adore Sentinel. I think Sentinel is great. Really love where the end game is at in terms of the Atlas passive skill tree. Really don't like where the game is at in terms of the just like core game being in a poor state because of Arch Nemesis. The massive impact that Arch Nemesis has on basically every single aspect of the game in terms of league mechanics, in terms of the choosing what leagues you want to run. I originally wanted to do a Delirium-based league. I do not want to do a Delirium-based league with Delirium plus Arch Nemesis modifiers on there. There are people who want to be playing Blight. They're not doing it because of how it interacts with Blight. There are people who want to be leveling through the camp. Well, They want to play Path of Exile, but they cannot stand leveling through the campaign at the best of times, let alone with Arch Nemesis in there. I don't think Arch Nemesis is good for the new player experience. I don't think Arch Nemesis is good for the game, unfortunately, despite the fact that I do currently enjoy the gameplay of Path of Exile quite a lot. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Sentinel. Let me know what you think, if this sort of lines up with your opinions. Where you disagree, I'd be very curious to hear it. And anyway, I'm Tarke. Have a good day. Bye-bye.